The third season of Wizards of Waverly Place is no joke. It's hilarious, but no joke. Funny, but stop joking. Season 3 is crazy because it's the cutoff of right when I stopped watching Wizards originally. Like, I remember Harper finding out.
My best friend's a wizard!
I remember getting to Wizards versus Vampires, that, like, super big special at the end of Season 2.
What are you talking about?
We've come to reclaim our daughter!
But I must have stopped watching after the movie because Season 3 is so foreign to me. I like to call it the Justin Has Bangs season because it's the most memorable part of it that I remember not seeing. And there's a lot that goes into Season 3 in a way that, like, I haven't noticed in the show before, where it gets a lot more serialized. It's also a lot better in a way that I never expected. This is probably one of the best seasons of Disney TV I've ever seen. The cool part about it, the best part, is that we could break it up into a bunch of different sagas. Because many of the chunks of episodes kind of have a recurring theme up until, like, a certain point. In the same way anime has, like, an end of an arc, that's kind of how this season goes. I wanted to start with the first arc, which I consider the monster arc. Not sure if you guys remember, but Wizards of Waverly Place Season 3 originally kicked off with Monsttober. It's a marathon themed around Halloween that they did on Disney Channel way back when, and I remember it because I stopped watching at that time. I remember thinking that was like such a weird, cheap gimmick, but you know what? I was wrong because every episode I must have missed is seemingly one of the better episodes. I've seen a lot of other YouTubers talk about this season, and they don't love it super much, but I feel like the more time we have away from it, the better it seems quality-wise. The first chunk of episodes we're going to look at is the Monsttober special, this whole first arc, and it takes us through episode 1, Franken Girl, episode 2, Halloween, episode 3, Monster Hunter, episode 4, 3 Monsters, notice a pattern here, and 5, Night at Laserama. You know what my favorite part of these specials are? We have a guest star in this season that is from my favorite show ever, but we're not going to get into that this quickly. The point is, we start off with Season 3 on a very monster-themed note with the first episode, Franken Girl. So in this episode, Justin is sick of Alex constantly going back into his room.
I'm gonna Alex-proof my room.
Again?
Already the third season has like a really nicer vibe because it's HD. Everything feels a lot more 2010s, even though that's like so new for it. It's actually a really good one. The whole premise is that Justin gets all in Frankenstein mode and wants to create his own. Something to distract Alex long enough so he could have his personal time. And it's like a hint of little evil. Evil Justin comes out a lot in this season.
It's payback time.
I feel like it's fair to call him Angsty Justin, where he's just getting tired of all these things going on, like Alex getting praised and his studies not paying off. But, I mean, we get a lot of wins for him this season, so Justin, just sit tight if you're watching this. You're gonna have a good season. So Justin creates this fake monster using wizard magic, and Max has this funny, like, ongoing thing where he keeps switching sides. Like, first he's on Alex's side, he's like, I'm gonna be on Alex's side about this argument, and then he jumps to Justin.
I pick Alex. I am switching sides. Hey, Alex, I'm on your side again. Justin insulted me. Nice, dude. I'm on your side now. I am on your side now. What can I say? I love a winner.
And Max becomes such a laughingstock of this season. I feel like he's just joke after joke, but I've never liked him more. So they must have been doing something right on that account because that is just hilarious. The references to the old Frankenstein movie, though, are kind of going over my head. One, I didn't really like the old Frankenstein movie with Gene Wilder.
That's Frankenstein.
And two, Justin's portrayal of it is kind of cringy sometimes.
She's alive. She's alive. She's alive.
But it is funny. It's like supposed to be cheesy. Like that's the charm of it all. So Justin tests out his experiment by setting Alex up to go steal something from his room. When she does, she meets the Franken monster, and it feels like something's actually going right for Justin. I feel like he doesn't get a lot of wins, but Alex is genuinely, like, scared of this new monster. And why? Because it wants to be her friend.
Best friend forever.
Which is even worse than being just like a scary monster. So it starts following her around, acting like her, and I feel like Alex likes this. It's kind of like a twist on Justin where it's like Alex actually gets into this as a concept. So Justin has to kick it up a notch.
Looks like your revenge revenged.
Justin convinces Franken girl that she wants to be a cheerleader and that Alex is going to join her. So Alex is really upset pretty quickly. And this becomes a recurring theme. I think we see that Alex is on the cheer squad more than once, which is kind of crazy. Disney Channel always seems to like incorporate cheer squad into something. I feel like it was on Life with Derek. It was on Hannah Montana. I mean, fill me in if I'm wrong. So yeah, Alex finds herself actually trapped by the situation, which is another point for Justin. Good for him. I feel like he deserves it. Harper apparently was a part of the cheer squad all along, and Alex just didn't notice because she didn't care, which is kind of crazy to me. I feel like that you have to notice some kind of commitment like that. Mr. Laritate's back this season, and I really like this guy. I saw him on the reboot, and I was very surprised at how consistent he becomes this and next season. It kind of reminds me of Girl Meets World, where the teacher gets involved a lot more than they used to. And it's funny, though, because he's got this whole Western vibe. He wears, like, a polo tie, and, like, it's just his whole gimmick, and I don't know why. It's just funny.
Oh, Miss Russo, you've lassoed my soul.
Alex is a lot more cunning this season, I would say. She has a lot more mature moments, but it takes a couple sagas to get there, so sit tight. The episode weirdly ends with no full-on conclusion. It's just Alex and Franken Girl are on the sports team, and it kind of goes to credits from there. So I guess that's like a loss for Alex. Like, Justin won this episode, and it's kind of funny to think about. Then we get to the actual Halloween episode, Halloween. The first time Wizards actually committed full on to be like, let's just call this episode Halloween. We're ready. So in this episode, it's about the Waverly Place family trying to create a horror, scary Halloween haunted house.
Follow me!
I'm not sure if you guys saw Sunny with a Chance, but Mr. Condor, the guy who plays the executive running that whole business, also plays a big business guy in this too. He's the one who comes in to tell the Russos that they are so unscary that they need to pretty much shut down their haunted house this year.
And frankly, your haunted house has been a disappointment since
Forever.
It's so funny, though, because Alex is, like, not on their side about it. She, like, essentially sides with Mr. Condor. I'm going to call him that, even though that's definitely not his name. So they decide that they actually need to start using magic to make this scary. Something that they've never considered before, because Teresa has always had a problem with them using magic as shortcuts, which is totally fair. I feel like you shouldn't be able to use all magic as shortcuts. And this is funny because it's, like, the one time they're expected and, like, want to use magic on purpose. It's actually a lot harder than it seems. Like, it's such a simple act, ends up being ridiculously hard. It's funny, though, because Jerry's the one who initiates it, and he's like, I want to keep this haunted house. Please don't tell your mother, but do this. Dang, Jerry. Not a good husband this season, that's for sure. Jerry and Teresa tend to spend a lot of time this season just, like, letting the kids kind of do whatever they want. They say is, like, a character flaw, but I honestly think that's how parents will act when kids past 15 start, like, wanting their independence. Like, they don't want to be as involved because they don't want to create a teenager that rebels against everything. I feel like that makes a lot of sense to me. Like, Teresa and Jerry are like, I guess we can't control them. We just have to let it go. So they get a little neglectful, I would say, but not, like, full-on neglect. They just seem to, like, let things happen. So Alex and Harper go to the Ghost World to recruit some villains to actually make this haunted house really cool. And it's funny because it reminds me of the Ghost Zone from Danny Phantom, maybe just because I've been watching it a lot, but the name is just so uncanny for some reason. And they meet a bunch of new characters that are all based on Halloween this time. And apparently they survive off of Halloween candy, which I find really creative. It gives me vibes of Halloween Town. I don't know if you remember that movie. That was like an old Disney movie. It feels like Wizards is like taking over that spot of Halloween themed things.
forecast calls for rain.
And these guys are actually really scary. Like, maybe because it's Halloween, but their makeup is uncomfortably realistic. So Alex ends up bringing 3 of the scary people back, and they're not, like, as scary as you thought they were. Teresa ends up finding out that they're doing this, and we think it's going to be a problem, but really she's on board too. Like, she wants this haunted house to be scary. If anything, she's like, these guys are not scary enough.
So you went to the Wizard World to get some scary ghosts, and this was the best you could do?
We get to see everybody in a Halloween costume, and it's really funny. Harper is like the bride of Frankenstein, and Max is literally just a ghost with a sheet over his head and a mustache. I don't know why. Max is just so funny this season for me.
I'm the ghost of mustaches past.
Teresa tells Alex to literally go back and get an actual scary ghost, and she confronts the guy they met earlier, who is a really scary ghost. He apparently haunted Justin for some time.
Crybaby Russo? I put that kid on my resume!
So there's actually like history there, which is just like a really funny one-off bit. And it's so funny because at first the haunted house is ran by Justin while Alex is trying to go get this guy, and it's like horribly lame. Like he makes it worse until they actually bring the guy back who shows off his ghostly powers, freaking out everybody. This one's actually a success for the main cast, which is kind of rare. They got away with it. They made the haunted house. I mean, it's Halloween. It's fair that they get this. I just like that this is like the second episode in a new season. This and Franken Girl really introduce us in a way that like gets me excited for a consistent theme. And yeah, it's just nice to have a Halloween episode that is so dedicated to it that I don't have to just consider that Scary Movies episode. Every episode feels like Halloween for this show, so it's nice that they actually like distinguish which one would be the special. Season 3, Episode 3 is called Monster Hunter, and this one starts out pretty fun. So Mr. Stuffleby is this private wizard counselor, kind of like a regular guidance counselor, but for wizards. Cool concept. He was in the original episode Make It Happen from Season 2, where he was like telling the kids that they have to have a backup plan if they don't pass the wizard competition. They ended up forming a band, and it became one of those episodes where the main cast forms a band. I don't know what to tell you. That's a pretty basic episode. But he's back here because apparently Justin mastered his 5,000th spell. And it's like a big celebration. Everybody's excited to see each other again. And Justin apparently doesn't have to do his studies anymore. So that's another win for Justin. Dang, this guy just keeps winning this season. Alex is immediately embarrassed because she's learned like very little spells. And it's so funny because she's like, what about me? And they're like, oh, well, we don't like to count spells, but you're literally here for a celebration. So he's chosen to do an apprenticeship, an internship-like thing. And it kind of reminds me of like in the human world where we want to try out a job. So we do like an internship. That's kind of what Justin does, and he chooses to be a monster hunter. But here's the thing, in the past, a lot of the monster hunters either didn't do a good job or died. So it's kind of a really threatening position for him to take on. Given the fact that we just saw him create Frankenstein, we just had them recruit ghosts from the ghost world. Like, it seems like the wizards are getting a lot more entangled with the other worldly things in the wizard world, like goblins, monsters. Like, it becomes very consistent. Oh, and this is his last appearance, which is actually kind of sad. I really do like this idea for a character. Meanwhile, this is like Alex's first responsible episode where she seems a little bit threatened by Justin in a way she hadn't been before.
I am trying to find a way to catch up on my wizard lessons.
Why bother? You know, if I were you, I'd figure out ways to look good in a hairnet.
You know, she's always been irresponsible, just using magic as a shortcut and for whatever she wants. But this time she's actually like, dang, I need to figure out how Justin does his spells because there's no way I could compete with him.
What you doing?
Studying.
Okay.
Right.
She breaks into his room again, which is really funny because it solidifies like why he created the Franken monster in the first place. I don't know where she went. We never got a resolution to that episode, but whatever. And Alex is trying to figure out what to do. Harper guides her, but is like, girl, this is like, you chose this. Like, you never wanted to learn spells. And she kind of helps Alex and be like, if you want to learn spells, you're gonna have to commit yourself to what Justin does.
And his MP3 player is full of spells.
Find that basil dragon toes are how you make a potion when...
And that means like studying all the time, doing all these things. So Alex is like, okay, fine, I'll do it. And tell me Justin's room isn't like the biggest room ever. Like, they're not that rich, are they? To have an apartment in New York is one thing, but to have an apartment in New York with a giant room that essentially looks like a museum, Justin, you're living a little too large. And we get the introduction of a new character just for this saga where Max actually brings his conscience to life. So, guess who the Conscience is? Rico from Hannah Montana. Moises Arias plays Conscience, this part of Max's brain that tells him what's right and wrong, and he essentially doesn't have it anymore. So, like, Max goes off the walls. I already was concerned about Max, and now I'm, like, freaking out. So Max, like, starts making decisions that don't involve the conscious, and he becomes kind of a jerk. I feel like I've never seen Max take this direction. You gotta admit, Moises Arias is super funny in this. He's so good at playing like the moral gatekeeper, especially since he's the opposite in Hannah Montana as Rico.
I love the ladies, but Georgia Washington, you're still the best.
Justin tries to hunt down his first monster, and it ends up being in this train station, and it's just like a giant costume piece, which if I were a kid, this would make me scared to see any costume characters ever. I don't know why they would paint them in such a scary light. Like, they're cheesy or they're horrifying, but either way, it's not a win for the audience. Justin does a pretty good job right off the bat. Max is the one who ends up making monsters roam the city.
I think we all believe I could do something this stupid.
To sabotage Justin, because he got it in his head that the only way he's going to do the wizard competition right is if he stops Justin. And it's funny because it's like kind of Alex's fault for like insinuating that.
I have a conscience and I'm letting it be my guide.
Like at the beginning of the episode, she's kind of like, hey, like the only way we're going to win is if we take down Justin. So yeah, conscience is out. So Max makes a really big mistake. All monsters are enlisted into the city. Next thing you know, Justin is bombarded by a bunch of really disturbing Chuck E. Cheese like costumed things that are attacking him one by one, and he cannot keep up. We already were concerned with him because no monster hunters usually come out alive, and you're telling me he's able to last this long? I mean, that's another win for Justin, if you had to calculate it. Alex ends up being the one to save the day with one of the spells she just learned through Justin's techniques, which is kind of interesting. It means that, like, she's definitely committed to being a part of the wizard competition. So it's, like, nice to have somebody to root for that's not the brother of the main character. I mean, Alex is just such a bad person. Sometimes it's, like, hard to root for her. But in this instance, it's nice to see that she's actually putting her work to the test. We have a lot of things started, like Justin starting to become a monster hunter, Max bringing out his conscience.
Max, what are you doing?
I'm wrestling with my conscience.
And Alex wanting to learn wizardry. So this is where we've had all the elements put into place to become a more serialized show. The next episode in the saga is called 3 Monsters. So Justin is still dating Juliet, who is a monster. Spoiler alert, she's a vampire, therefore she is a monster. Her and Justin are going great together, and they're like such a sweet couple. And I'm only telling you this because this is about to coincide with the plot in a really funny way. Conscience is still here with Max, and Max is still a bad person because we have Rico down his shoulder being able to be the moral support. It's so funny because Juliet starts hanging out with Alex and Harper, and obviously Justin's uncomfortable with this idea. Harper's outfit in this is just a bunch of markers hanging off her dress.
All right, let's put our heads together and think of something.
Grab a marker, ladies. Let's start writing.
Which is kind of iconic. I feel like I've seen this specific outfit referenced a lot, so it's funny that this is the origins of that episode. Max and Conscience look adorable together. I love that they're like always wearing the same outfit, and I wish Moises Arias was in this for even more than like the next couple episodes. Like, this is such a funny concept. And things get a little bit more strained with their relationship as Max just completely stops listening to him. Apparently, the longer you're away from your conscience or separate bodies, the quicker it's going to be for them to become their own person and get their own conscience. So Max is actually in a little bit of trouble that we set up last episode. I love that they add that. It's so funny, Moises acts like a babysitter, like he even talks to Teresa and is like, I'm trying to get him to work on his studies.
I'm sorry, I've been encouraging him to work on his wizard studies.
Okay, I was a babysitter. I'm not sure if I told you guys, but I was a male nanny for like 3 years. I had this awesome kid. We would just play video games and do homework, and it was a nice setup. I learned a lot from him, and he learned a lot from me, I'm assuming. But yeah, that's funny that like Rico is the one in the scenario being the conscience. We have this new wizard counselor guy. He's famous for different sitcoms. I can't think of his name right off the bat, but he alerts Justin that there is a monster he's going to have to fight. Justin reports that there's monsters on Waverly Place as a part of his apprenticeship, his internship duties, I guess. And it turns out to be Juliet and her 2 parents. Luckily, we don't get to see them. They're kind of annoying, but I like that, like, he accidentally reported them. Obviously, Alex and Harper kind of bother him about it because, of course, he reported his girlfriend. And we think that Justin's gonna like hide it from her, but I like that literally Juliet enters and right off the bat he tells her. That's another win for Justin. I like that he's a respectful guy. He could be a little bit like teasing of Alex in a normal brother way, but he's got some responsible qualities to him and likes to be honest. So like it's hard to kind of look down on that, especially with the new bangs. How do you forget that? So now we have new monster hunters coming to help Justin take down the 3 monsters. And this is horrible news. Justin is like, what are we gonna do? Like, they're gonna find my girlfriend. So immediately they show up right in the middle of this conversation, and it becomes a lot more conflict really quick. This is what I like about the show. I like that the drama gets a little bit more intense as we keep going. Juliet's able to hide behind Alex and Harper, and they get away with it for now, but they need to come up with a longer-term plan. So Alex is like, we just need to get 3 monsters to distract them, which is actually kind of a genius idea. They end up recruiting that Franken girl, which is funny because it actually makes it tie into the saga, so my theories are kind of correct. But then she gets like a robot and then nothing else.
And the third monster is, oh look, nothing!
Alex just got the 2 monsters and just hoped it worked. Justin's freaking out this whole episode, which is fair because it's his mistake, and Juliet's just trying to hide. In the B-plot, we find out that Conscience is having such a positive influence on Max's life that even like Teresa starts loving him more than a son, which it's a part of Max, so I guess technically that's not immoral. So they end up having another win at the end of this episode, which is kind of sweet. They trick the monster hunters into actually taking those 3 monsters, which kind of betrayal, Justin. That is your daughter you just created, that Franken girl.
Franken girl, a monster I created. Hi, Daddy.
But whatever. Next thing you know, Alex and Justin are excited to tell Juliet themselves, because Juliet's like become this new part of the family, which I find super sweet. And yeah, the episode ends on a high note once again, which is nice because we're gonna get some low notes throughout the season. The next episode in this saga is Season 3, Episode 5, Night at the Laserama. Justin continues to be a part of this whole monster hunter apprenticeship and is told by the wizard tribe that at the museum there's a mummy that is essentially like evil and he needs to take him down. Nobody's ever taken him down before. It's going to be Justin's biggest mission yet. So there's a lot of high stakes here. At this point, it's starting to feel like Justin's kind of the main character. It's cool that this wizard tribunal guy keeps coming in because he's in the series finale most notably. So I like that they have him in early enough to start introducing those concepts. So Juliet goes with Justin.
I knew her. What's up?
And they go to this museum trying to figure out what the hijinks are.
You hate cookie dough ice cream, but you know who loves it? The mummy.
I love how Conscience is such like a recurring character now. He has a lot to do with the plot in like a really funny way. The mummy ends up opening up the exhibits, which is kind of cool. Very Night at the Museum-y, which I think that's what they were going for. So Justin and Juliet step in and find themselves trapped in the exhibit, only to be enslaved by the mummy. And they're like freaking out because if the sun comes up while they're still in there, Juliet is essentially going to disintegrate. So they have to make a decision pretty quickly. Is Juliet going to disintegrate, or is there another way out of this? The depressing part of the episode is there is a way out of it. It's apparently if Juliet becomes enslaved to the mummy, she'll be able to live, but she'll have to, you know, be a slave to him for the rest of her life. And it's really depressing because we have to watch Justin let her go like that. And you feel really bad. He's definitely got a really heavy loss in this season, despite all those positive wins thus far. I feel like this episode isn't as funny, maybe because it doesn't come a lot more natural when they're just stuck in the exhibit the whole episode. Like, I don't know what the jokes would be. I think the Conscience bit is the funniest. This is the episode where Conscience ends up forming his own identity because of how good he's doing with Max, and then ends up with his own conscience. A new guy comes out of his backpack and is wearing the same clothes he has, which I really like as a costume. Alex is the one that's like trying to help this situation, but can't get to them in time. So yeah, Max is kind of screwed at this point. Alex is able to trick Conscience into not having his own life and turns Max into a washing machine, puts him as socks in the washing machine, and I guess that just makes it back to be a part of his spirit. I'm running out of understanding of these wizard rules. So all around, Max gets out easy, Alex is the one who learned the spell to do it, and poor Justin is alone at the museum, and his girlfriend is like essentially gone forever, despite the fact they just got her back in the last episode, so not a fun time for these guys. The episode ends with a very heartfelt moment between Justin and Alex, and it's kind of sweet.
Let's just hug and go get some cookie dough ice cream.
Cookie dough!
I don't know, to me it's a little too depressing. I feel like this is a scary concept to not resolve quickly. But I'm gonna miss Moises Arias. This is a sad end to the first saga.